Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to my presentation. My name is Craig Moore. I'm the Operations Coordinator for Circle UK Group. Today's presentation is going to be about search procedure and legal powers that we have whilst conducting security on site. Okay, so first and foremost, you're all on mute, so I'm not going to request you to turn your phones on silent. It's not an issue, but thank you. Bear with me. Okay, so the content of today's presentation. So by the end of today's presentation, you will all have a formal understanding of when a search is considered permitted, when a search is considered prohibited, how to gain lawful consent from the individuals that you're conducting a search on, and the correct procedures for searching a person, a bag, and a vehicle. It'll also inform you, my apologies. Apologies about that. It's a motion sensor light. Okay, so the content that I will be conducting is how to manage refusals and escalations accordingly, the proper way, with conflict resolution and de-escalation tactics. Proper recording requirements in regards to the actual search, and the relevant standards and legal framework you all conduct yourself in line with whilst conducting your searches. Okay, so the legislation references that we are using and we operate in line with are the SIA guidance, and that is the safe, consensual and ethical search process. The British Standards 7499, which is the static site guarding and mobile patrol code of practice, and that is in line with British standards. We're also referencing to Human Rights Act 1998, the Equality Act 2010, the Data Protection Act 2018, and the company assignment instructions of which you are issued upon attending a site for active duty. Okay, firstly, we're going to touch on when searches are permitted, when you're allowed to conduct a lawful legal search. The search is permitted when a clear sign is displayed, a condition of entry is communicated to the individuals upon entry to the establishment, is part of your site assignment instructions, conducted respectfully, lawfully, and safely. So that means you have verbal consent voluntarily provided by the individual or in writing. Okay, so consent-based searches, correct wording and phrasing would for a few examples are: good afternoon. As a condition of entry, we conduct bag searches. Do you consent to a bag search? The answer is going to be yes or no. Okay. You are not obligated to consent, but refusal may result in your denied entry. Simple rejection or refusal will result in a denied entry. Okay. The search will be conducted respectfully and in line with our company policy. So you're informing the individual, you're conducting the search respectfully and in line with the company policy they have also signed as an employee. Okay, your key principles whilst conducting the search are to be clear with your direction, always remain polite to the individual because manners cost absolutely nothing, non-threatening, non-coercive. Now, non-coercive basically means not indicating to them or channeling them into a search without actually verbally agreeing. So that's non-coercive. So non-physical contact without permission. So you are not to touch any individual to conduct the search without prior consent from that individual themselves. Okay, and where possible, please try to conduct a self-search. You've all been trained on how to conduct the self-search via the SIA. It's one of the minimum requirements of search procedure. Some of our sites could possibly utilize this in certain situations. For instance, with the wands and the scanners in positions, if, for instance, a conceiving or pregnant lady is to be searched, we are to self-search, okay, not send through the scanners. Okay, so when our search is prohibited, you are not to conduct a search under any means necessary without first consent. You're never to use force, and you're never to search anybody in a discriminatory manner. Okay? You are not to operate outside your assignment instruction guidelines. And if alone, where the policy requires 2 staff, you are to conduct it under CCTV coverage as a bare minimum. Okay, for documentation and legality reasons, there needs to be a witness documenting the search. Okay. What to look for when you're conducting a search? Okay, searches are conducted to detect any restricted, prohibited, or illegal items that are listed but not limited to the below. They are such things as a knife or sharp pointed weapon, aerosols, any form of syringe, razor blades, firearms and tear gas, items of theft, drugs or alcohol, mobile phones and electronic devices, but those are policy dependent, depending on the company policy themselves, and any other items specified as a condition of entry policy. Okay, so any conditions of entry that are named within a policy, you are to adhere to. Okay, using the format of who, what, where, when, why, and how is how you will establish or build relevant suspicion on a individual. So who is that individual? Where are they going? Why are they going there? Is there a purpose for them being there, for instance? What are they taking with them? And are they allowed based on the conditions of entry? Okay, so who, what, where, when, why, how. Now, the types of search are a person search, a baggage search, and a vehicle search. Now, all of these searches need to be in line with the SIA ethical standards, which is safe, consensual, and ethical. Are you searching them in a safe environment? Have you received consent to lawfully search? And is the search ethically in line with equality and diversity? Okay, so a person search, to reiterate, consent is given. If possible, same gender searching, if possible, but that is operational dependent. Okay, minimal intrusion to the person's or the individual's personal space. You are never to conduct, and I reiterate, never conduct a strip search. Okay, you never touch intimate areas either, and you never use force to complete the search. I know I've mentioned those before, but those are very, very relevant points to touch on because they are a legal requirement. Okay, so a baggage search, first and foremost, like a person search, you are to ask for consent. You're to ask the individual to open the bags themselves. Do not, or try to not put your hands inside unless necessary or permitted, because you need consent to search the bag also. Okay. Avoid damaging personal property. So the reason I stipulate do not put your hands inside unless absolutely necessary, it prevents any claims for damaging personal property, and it also creates a safety barrier for yourselves in case they do have any sharp or tangible items that could do you personal harm. Okay, it prevents that happening. Now, on a vehicle search, it's the same as the person and the baggage search. You are to always ask for consent. Once consent is given, you are to search each area, and after every area, ask for consent. Example, good afternoon, may I search your vehicle? Consent is given. You've searched the inside seating area. Now you want to check the glove box. Okay, you have to ask for consent to check the glove box, or direct the driver to self-search the vehicle and get them to open the compartments for you so you can visually examine all the contents. Okay, now a procedure that I like to follow with vehicles to make it a simple process is the acronym IBOBU, which is simply inside the vehicle, inside the boot, the outside of the vehicle, the bonnet area, and underneath carriage of the vehicle. So IBOBU, just for a simple reminder. Okay, and I remember, please remember, obtain clear consent on every section of the vehicle that you're searching. Ask the driver to open the compartments to create a safety barrier for yourself in case there is any harmful contents inside. Never enter the vehicle without permission, because that vehicle is their personal property. Therefore, you would be invading their personal space. And never search a moving vehicle. Pure and simple for your own safety and the driver individual's safety. Okay, refusals and escalation of a search. If a person refuses a search, okay, the ultimate rule is stay calm and professional. Explain to them the site policy, the conditions of entry. Offer them the opportunity to leave. Okay, do not argue or create conflict. And contact your control room if necessary for escalation. Okay, so you escalate if the individual refusing becomes aggressive in nature, has suspicious circumstances around the reason why they refuse. For example, they have a pointy object in their trouser pocket. You identify the pointy object potentially as a lethal weapon. So that creates suspicious circumstances indicating why they might potentially be refusing the search. Okay, threats or prohibited items suspected, as I mentioned, you are to inform your control room and your management. Okay, your control room support. When are you to contact your control room? Okay, when the refusal of the search becomes confrontational and aggressive, as I've stipulated. Illegal items are suspected or confirmed visually or through information obtained from witnesses. Any incident report that is required or produced, you are to contact your control room for support and information. Okay, and any other operational requirement throughout your day-to-day code of conduct. Okay, under British Standard 7499 and SIA best practice, you are to record absolutely every search, whether it's via CCTV, log and report, or C24/7 data capture reporting app. Okay, so the information you are to collect using the acronyms the letters WWWWH is who, what, where, when, why, how. That is the easiest way to log and report and document every bit of information you need to make your report accurate and timely. Okay, so those are operator's name, your date and time, the reason for the search, was consent given, was the outcome of the search successful or refusal, and what was the outcome of each, any refusal, any items found on the search, and was escalation taken regarding this search. Ensure all of your notes are factual, clear and concise. There is no opinion, only fact. They are GDPR compliant, so restricted for eyes only for the relevant members of authority. And all of your reports are stored securely. Now, we do operate on the C24/7 reporting app. So fortunately, we have GDPR compliancy correct there, and they're stored securely. So the individual operators do not have to worry about that sector. They only have to worry about the factual notes and no opinions, and make sure they log and report accurately. Okay. Equality and professional standards. Okay. Equality. We are all equal. We all eat, breathe, sleep the same. Okay. A search is to be conducted with no discrimination, non-discriminatory at all towards anybody. Information-led, so your search can be conducted under suspicion, providing the information given to you causes alarm of suspicion. So you receive a complaint from a member of staff highlighting that another member of staff may potentially have a sharp weapon, a sharp edge weapon. Okay, that's information led. Or a policy-based search, conditions of entry. Okay, you apply the same level of standards of search to absolutely everybody, regardless of their authority level within the ranking structure of your site. So it does not matter if they're the cleaner. It does not matter if they're the CEO of the company. They are all applied consistently, and the search standards remain the same regardless of their authority level. Okay, you never base a search on profiling somebody on these 5 factors. There are actually 8, but the main 5 I've included are race, religion, gender, age, and disability. Okay, under no circumstances are you to isolate an individual or victimize an individual for those criteria under the Equality and Diversity Inclusion Act. Okay. Professional conduct reflects the SIA licensing standards as well. So you are all representatives of Circle and the SIA as a whole industry. Okay, so the takeaway, ladies and gentlemen, searches must be consent-based. No consent, no search. Refusal may result in denied entry to the site. You always remain professional and courteous. You record absolutely everything accurately and clearly, and you follow your assignment instructions issued by Circle. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. Do we have any questions or comments, answers?
Yes, actually, Craig, I've got one.
Okay.
You spent some time explaining the vehicle search. Could you please explain in what circumstances we will conduct the vehicle checks?
Yeah, no problem. If it is as stipulated in the company policy of entry, if the individual trying to gain access to a vehicle controlled area, i.e. a delivery yard or something like that, a loading bay, which they're not authorized to access, we would then, under certain circumstances, search the vehicle if entry is granted by management above. If we have aroused suspicion based on prior actions, or we have indicators that give us an indicator that they are potentially carrying something unlawful. So I'll give you an example. If somebody comes out of the warehouse with an item in their pocket, they've managed to bypass the person search, and we see them walk towards their vehicle, but we're not quite happy that they conducted the search, or they tried to circumnavigate the search procedure by potentially going hard on the individual searching them, becoming confrontational, refusing of nature. We would then potentially escort them to the vehicle and then stipulate to them, we would like to search their vehicle. Okay, because they could have concealed something in their pocket, gone to their vehicle, placed in the vehicle, and returned to work. So it gives us cause of suspicion to search further.
Great. That's a great example. Thank you very much, Craig. That's much more clearer now to me.